Few numbers. A lot of worrying numbers out this morning, some of them being that there's going to be a $25 billion fall in company tax receipts, up to $180 billion total deficit. The Finance Minister wouldn't exactly confirm that on the show a little bit earlier, but what's your reaction, first of all, to those numbers?
Yeah, look, those numbers are big. The Treasurer's called them eye-watering. He's entirely correct. And lots of the reports today will be about how it's a terrible thing. And sure it is. My take, though, is just remember this is the budget doing exactly what you want it to do in a crisis, protecting the pockets of families and businesses, keeping jobs going. You know, if we weren't running these enormous deficits, we would have less money today in the pockets of families and businesses. It's unfortunate, but it is absolutely necessary.
How long is this going to take to pay off?
And I'm not really fussed about that. I do think it will be important to repair the budget, to get back to a healthy budget, a balanced budget, what we had before the crisis hit. I wouldn't try to pay it off the same way we didn't pay off the debts of World War II. At a time when unemployment is high and the Reserve Bank is effectively already doing everything it can do, if we tried hard to pay it off, that'd be entirely counterproductive, hurting ourselves. The smart play, get the economy right, and that will get the budget right. The government's saying, and it's entirely correct to do so, that its measures have been temporary.
When it comes to the unemployment rate, Chris, what do you expect that to bottom out at?
Probably somewhere around 8.5%. A better answer, whether you're thinking about unemployment in particular or the economy in general or the budget, it's all down to Melbourne right now. If, as the government will be assuming today, the remaining 4 weeks of lockdown there does the trick, then yes, unemployment will probably peak somewhere around 8.5%. And the story will get better from there.
When it comes to the mining sector, is that the saviour for us at the moment, Chris?
It's certainly doing well. You're seeing things like iron ore prices are very, very healthy right now. Miners basically will be digging deeper in every sense of that phrase and spending a bit more off the back of that. That's very good news for the Australian economy. But outside of mining, the weak point in the economy is that willingness of businesses to spend money today with an eye on tomorrow. Who's going to build a new office block right now? Who's going to refurbish a shopping mall right now? Businesses are going to be penny pinching.
How much ammunition do we have left? I mean, how much further can we go, Chris, if there's further headwinds? And there probably is going to be, no doubt. You've got the Victorian shutdown. You've got New South Wales that's watching numbers very closely at the moment, and it could head down that way too, even though the Premier doesn't want to do that. Do we have a lot left in the tank?
If we need it, we've absolutely got it. We were one of the very, very lucky few. We entered this crisis with a balanced budget and not much debt. If you look across all the rich nations in the world, that left us best placed. You don't want to have to run up this debt, but we certainly can do more if it's necessary, and interest rates have never been lower in 5,000 years of recorded economic history. If you've got to do it, it's grand to do it at a time when interest rates are cheap as chips.
Well, I mean, I was going to ask you that. Borrowing is so low at the moment, as you know, Chris. Is now the time to try and bring forward those shovel-ready projects when it comes to infrastructure? I know Jennifer Westacott, she wants a broad-based investment allowance of 20% to cover all forms of investment. Is that where attention should be applied at the moment?
Yes, yes and yes. So governments are going to need to keep spending, but that sort of spending to support the economy over time is going to be less about the virus and more about recovery, so more about the sorts of things that you're talking about. And governments need not just to keep spending, keep going hard, they also need to go smart. A range of reforms in the Federation, in tax, in industrial relations, in competition policy, in cities reform. There's all sorts of things that have been in the too hard basket for a very long period of time. We need them now. We need the ability to grow the Australian economy faster, to create jobs, to give back, the almost 1 million jobs. Those people who've lost it, they deserve our help because they've done the right thing in defending Australia against the virus. We now need to defend against the recession.
OK, so just a closing thought here, Chris. We've only got about 30 seconds here. How are you feeling about the position that we're in? Even though these numbers are terrible, are you OK about the financial position overall that Australia appears to be in?
Much stronger than you're seeing elsewhere in the world, yes. Very comfortable.
All right. Chris Richardson from Deloitte. Appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for joining us as always.